Well, hello and welcome to another Friday with the Family. I'm your host, Julia Benbrook, and a huge thank you to the Alumni Association for having me. We are really excited about today's episode. I know everyone will be. She's one of our favorite OSU leaders, the First Cowgirl Ann Hargis, and she is joined by another special guest. Who's with you today, Ann?
This is Scruff the Wonder Dog. Scruff, who is taking a lazy afternoon on a Friday afternoon. He's our own dog, our own pet.
I love that. And he has a very special purpose on campus that we're going to dive into a little bit later, but we wanted to make sure to introduce him just in case the doorbell rang or anything got him distracted. So.
Believe me, anything. And he's easily distracted. He only has two speeds. It's asleep and off. So.
Okay, so we're working with the sleep right now.
Yeah.
So, of course, everyone, I have some questions for Ann, but I know you guys do too. So you can use the Ask a Question button in our webinar service, or you can put that on Facebook. They will send some of those to me, and we'll make sure to get you her questions as well. So I'm excited to catch up with you, Ann, because so much has happened since we talked last near the beginning of the pandemic and school changing and things like that. But just a little while ago, President Hargis announced his retirement, and huge congrats to you both. How does it feel? What does this feel like right now?
Well, as you can only imagine, very, very mixed emotions. We've had the time of our lives. It has been the most rewarding thing that we've done together and individually, and we have loved every minute of it. So I always say that we've been educated here at OSU, and so what we're looking forward to is graduation. And you know what graduation means to everybody. It's an exciting time, and it's full of things you don't know, and you're excited, but you don't know what the future brings. So hope we get a good job after we graduate. But I basically need Burns to have a job because I don't need him coming home for lunch.
So, oh man. Well, I know that. Go ahead.
It's good. That's all I want to say. Yeah.
Very exciting. And I know that as both a student and then also being able to work at the university, and I hear a lot of people talk, both students and donors, and there's been more than one time that I have heard people say, we are so lucky to have President Hargis. He does such a good job. We're even luckier that we get Ann as well. And I think President Hargis would agree with that too. I mean, you guys have just done such an incredible job. So
we feel like we're the lucky ones. So it's all good. It is.
And then so starting back in 2008, you take on this role and took on so many roles within campus. What did that beginning feel like, getting acclimated as the first cowgirl?
It was a whirlwind. It was, you just hit yourself, you get dressed in the morning and you go from one thing to the other. And there's so much to learn and so many people to meet and get to know. And at the same time, we're trying to get settled. And so, I would just put on makeup and go out in the world, and who knew what was going to happen next? It was such an incredible time. And then all of a sudden, it was almost a cadence of some sort that you grabbed hold of a comfort level. But those initial months were just phenomenal. I remember the media stepped up and they were asking me all kinds of questions. And I remember one said, well, what's your cause? What are you going to be emphasizing? And I looked at her and I said, I don't know. I feel like I'm a freshman and I haven't declared my major yet. And so it was just so many things were coming. I remember that very first fall. We started in March and it was busy all through the summer. There was no let up. But in the fall, a magazine called and they wanted to cover our Christmas holiday decorations. And I thought, you don't understand. I don't even know Christmas is coming. It was like I didn't have a tree. I didn't have an ornament. I didn't know where to get one. I mean, I couldn't. There was no way. So after the first year, interestingly enough, nobody called about decorations. Nobody called about my emphasis. Nobody. It's like the news wants to know initially. They want to be the first to know. But after your first year, that's old hat. We've already been there, done that. So, once I got my Christmas decorations up, nobody really cared to look at them.
That's interesting. And I mean, you didn't stop doing things. In fact, the opposite. You ramped up what you were doing on campus. And Pete's Pet Posse is one of them. Touch on some of your favorite things you're able to do there.
With the pet therapy program, first, should we talk about what it is? What the pet therapy program is?
Yeah.
Oh, Scruff, you can tell them, honey. You can stick your face in there. Well, the pet therapy program is actually geared toward the emotional well-being of everybody who comes in contact with something that has something to do with OSU. And we were doing plenty of things with fitness and nutrition, but we thought that the emotional well-being package could be emphasized a little bit more. So that's what we were addressing, the feel good, and lifting every boat. So in the fall of 2013, we started a pilot program, and we had 8 dogs and their owner handlers. We call them teams. So there were 8 of us that went through an extensive training, and we didn't know what to expect next. I thought that we would just be on campus and students would come up and squeal and say, "Oh, I miss my dog at home." And that does happen. That's a lot of it. But we never, ever dreamed the extent to which we could be of value to this campus. And the other thing I love to say is I don't know of another program anywhere at any other campus as extensive as this. But I also am not aware of a program on this university campus that goes from boundary to boundary, literally, and touches the lives of everybody. And that's the students, the faculty, the staff, visitors, alumni, donors. It's just everybody is lifted by the effect of this program. And I'm so proud of that. We never really thought about it as we did it. But the more we grow, the larger we get, the more we realize the value that these pets bring to the whole family.
Absolutely. And so do you have, how do people become a part of Pete's Pet Posse, and what can they do to kind of continue that legacy?
This is a program that applications are in August and September for this campus. And you apply through your department. So the dog itself needs to live in the home of an OSU employee. For instance, I'm not employed by OSU, but the dog lives in a home of somebody who is. So you apply, and through that, there is an evaluation done of the disposition of the dog and of the human being. And if they fit together as a team that understands the structure of this therapy program. So it's an extensive vetting process to just become part of the training, which again takes the whole process takes almost the entire 9 months from August to May. Then you go through an extensive training program, and you are certified nationally through 2 different pet therapy procedures. And one is anyway, I won't get into all that. But then you graduate in May at the Baccalaureate. So they have diplomas, and the diplomas are signed by our pup father, who is Pistol Pete. He's signed those diplomas. So we have a whole lot of fun with the program, but it is extremely thorough and serious in mind.
And so Scruff had to be a shoo-in for this program, but how did you get him in the first place? Like, what led you to Scruff?
Well, we actually knew that we were doing so much in so many areas on this campus, and we had heard of other schools that had programs whereby they would bring in a therapy group of dogs, say during finals. And I have a friend in Oklahoma City who has a therapy dog named Rossi, a standard black poodle with all kinds of hair, and named after Diana Ross. And Rossi came to campus and visited, and we were astounded at the reception that dog had. Everywhere the dog went was well received. Faculty came out of the staff and faculty came out of their offices, greeted her in the hallway. We couldn't get from appointment to appointment because there were so many people gathered around this dog. So we decided we might just try something like this ourselves. Meanwhile, Burns and I didn't have a dog. And so it was all just sort of happening at the same time. And there's a wonderful vet at the vet school who contacted me and said, Ann, we have a wonderful dog who we are rehabbing, and he had been shot and students rescued him. She said, he is the best disposition little dog. He would make a great therapy dog. And I said, Sip, thanks. Well, we'll remember that. And somebody, if it happens, it happens. Well, meanwhile, the students couldn't keep the dog. The vet school would have him for a week or two at a time to rehab some of his injuries. His leg was shattered. And Burns and I would have him maybe on a Sunday afternoon. So this went on for several months. And like I said, Burns and I were busy. And all I know is I looked up at Christmas time and we had this dog in the back of our car going to our home in Oklahoma City. And I said, Burns, I think we now have a dog. I think this is our dog. So Scruff he came to us because of the situation, the timing and everything. And he went through that very first training program. So I'll say he's a handful, but he was a stray. So they said he was about 2 years old when we got him. We think he's about 9. So he's been a part of our lives for a great many years now.
Well, and then as far as getting involved, what can people do? Is there a link or something that they should know to?
If they will go through, if they will go through our website, and I don't know if you have that to put it up or not, but I just Google Oklahoma State University's pet therapy program and I get to the website and there will be an application process there. I might just add as an aside that Tulsa also has therapy dogs on our OSU campus, on both campuses in Tulsa. And they are starting a class at the end of this month. They've already been through the vetting. They have found the perfect teams to go through training. So that process is a little bit different than the Stillwater process. And that's how they do it. They go through our website for that application.
Well, then last time we talked, because you were our very first Friday with the Family, yes. And you and President Hargis both were there in Whitehurst when campus was kind of shutting down. Obviously, the pandemic has made things difficult, but can you give us an update on campus? How are students doing through this time?
I think that everybody's adjusting. And it seems like from those students that I talk with, some are really pleased with the online classes. They think they can go at their own paces. And every student is a little bit different. But I had a text from a mother, actually in College Station, whose daughter's a freshman this semester. And she said, they told us a lot of things about this was their first child to go to college. A lot of things about our students in college, but they never told us how to handle our children when they come home for the first time. She went home for Thanksgiving. And when they're so homesick for OSU, we don't know how to handle that. So all I'm saying is this is one particular student who adjusted very well in this pandemic. And I'm not sure how students are meeting each other. They are eager to be in a college environment and they are adjusting well. I will say the pet therapy program is following protocol that the university sets up. And because of that, we see one person at a time for 5 minutes and we set a timer. So we social distance, everybody wears a mask and they stay 6 feet apart. And we are in areas on campus that are kind of hard to find, but these students find us and they come back time and time again. And those are the students that I see. So when I answer your question, from what I see, I think that students have adjusted. I'm so proud of this university and how the faculty and the staff have come together and have joined forces to be able to be all things we can possibly be for student success. And one time somebody was asking Burns about how challenging some of these decisions have been to make. And his point was, when you consider the safety of our students, and that's what it's about anyway, it makes the decision process a little bit easier. And they haven't been easy decisions, but I love the attitude that this university, first and foremost, wants our students to be successful. And I celebrate that. And I think that everybody has sort of backed up and cooperated, and we've had very, very little. I mean, I can't wait for it to get back to what we think of as being a college experience, but I am so proud of everybody and the way they've handled it so far.
And so from that college experience, your time on campus at OSU was not in college. It's been afterward and really embracing the Cowboy family. Do you have some favorite memories from those experiences that you'd be willing to share?
Oh, I have so many favorite memories that it's like I don't know where to start. But I will say most everything gets back to the success of the students, and most of my memories are centered around students. And one of my favorite examples is you, Julia, because we met when you were still a young child in Woodward, and your parents are very, very strong OSU alum and supporters. And we can't be around Julia without talking about the fact that the very first time we met, Julia taught Burns how to text. And that's how long ago it was, because text messaging was brand new. So to watch you grow up and come to OSU and take hold and soar, and you were in the Spirit Squad, you were in the President's Partners, which we haven't gotten into, but you took on so many leadership roles at this university, and just to be around you and watch you flourish. And then when you graduated, you took a job in Tulsa at a news station. And I was talking to your dad one time, and the shift that you worked as a brand new person was early in the morning. And he was not in the television viewing audience, but he managed to find you online at the same time, live. He didn't look at a record or anything, but he was with you at home. When he was at home, he was watching his daughter, and I was the whole thing, just to watch your whole family together and see how everyone grows. And now to see where you're in Washington Bureau, I mean, it's a phenomenal career and phenomenal success. So you're just one student. And I mean, just to know how exciting it is to see you flourish and see how it all comes together. And there are other students. I mean, I would say this little scruff dog, part of what Burns and I did was work with large gatherings, and always Pistol Pete would be there. Well, this is one dog having been shot who did not like Pistol Pete. So I've been privileged to work with two of our student Pistol Petes, and they work with Scruff, and they come, and Scruff loves them as people. I mean, we toss balls and give treats and whatnot, and Scruff doesn't mind their chaps. He doesn't mind their boots. He doesn't mind anything about them. He even got to the point where he could run around that big 45-pound hat and he could take treats out of the nose. He could do everything. But the minute that hat goes on that body, he's out of there. He can't stand that combination. So just to work with two of the most outstanding, and I always think the Pistol Petes are outstanding anyway as individuals, but to get to know them as people outside that mask, and see where they are today and what all they're doing. That's my favorite thing, is to watch people grow and learn. We had a student who used to work in the president's office come back last week with her little baby. And she was there years ago, but it's kind of fun to watch these families come together and the next generations come. And that's my favorite part.
Absolutely. And you guys, I mean, you mentioned President's Partners. I'm sure it was different this year, but in the past, you'd have students out to your house and wrapping gifts, and touch on some of those things where you really did get to see people one-on-one.
Well, there again, that is a group of outstanding juniors and seniors, basically. We've diversified a little bit. But these students are volunteering, and they act as basically hosts for anything the president office does. And that can be at the football stadium, it can be on campus, or even in the president's house. So, through the years, we've had the most outstanding students who are just so much fun to talk to. And just to watch them move around, some of the people they get to meet through this experience, they're meeting major donors, they're meeting leaders of business and government, and they're in our football suite. The dog's getting ready to fall off. They're in our football suite at the stadium, and some have received summer internships through those meetings, and just to watch the connections and see how proud we are of everybody, how poised, enthusiastic, and gifted all of these students are. It's just very, very rewarding. So it's good. And this year, President's Partners, again, as you can imagine, they have adjusted to being grateful for every moment they have. And of course, we didn't have the holiday gathering. We didn't wrap presents. We didn't do a tree. But we did have students in the football suite and very, very small gatherings in there. And I would apologize to each one because I knew what the suites were like most of the time. And they would say, this is just a privilege to be here and see the people we get to see. I mean, they're thankful for everything they do. And that's, I guess, the type students that are involved in President's Partners.
Okay, and we do have some questions coming in, so I want to make sure not to leave those out.
Okay.
Jessica asked, what is your favorite spot on campus?
Oh, my word.
We're making you pick a lot of hard favorites today.
Of course, it has to be the Pet Therapy Celebration Garden. I love the view. I love the message. I love the trees. I love being outside. Yeah, I guess that must be my favorite spot today. There's so many of them, though. I just threw that out.
Yes, so many good spots and so many new buildings too, which is
yeah. But it's the feeling I get when I'm out and you can see the family walking by and you can just be part of the zaniness of college students who have so much energy. So I don't want to leave this pet therapy program behind without saying it takes hundreds and hundreds of volunteers. And we are self-funded. We operate out of our trunks of our cars, under our beds, all kinds of stuff like that. But there are student volunteers, and we have had over 100 what we call rough riders, like rough riders. And they are the students who help us do our job, and they are an extra set of ears and eyes for us. They hand out, these little guys have trading cards that people collect, and the rough riders help us do that. They get water for the dogs. They help understand why some people are there. And a lot of times they hear things that the owner handlers don't hear. So it's a wonderful group of people. We also have several other people who donate their time. Like we are labeled with these vests, and this is the tartan plaid of OSU. And we have one volunteer who not only designed these vests, but she also found the fabric. She actually bought a bunch of umbrellas and cut up the umbrellas, and these vests are made out of the material found in the tartan plaid OSU umbrellas. And she donates all of her time to do that. So there are people who work in so many different areas for this. And I could not have this podcast without talking about the chairman of the board, the advisory board, who is actually also my assistant, Kendria Cost. This would never happen without all the work that Kendria does and coordinating all the people and all the events of this. So there's so many people who come together to do this, and it's been the most rewarding group of people having a good time and making a huge difference on this campus.
And even with the pandemic, you all pivoted. Kendria, the Rough Riders, everyone was involved with making pet therapy available virtually and doing what we could before you all could get back together. So there's all sorts of awesome people making things happen.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, this little guy will ride down the street in the car and you'll see people who'll cry. I mean, they miss the program as much as we do. So we're all doing the best we can, and a better day's ahead. I know it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Well, Jody asked, would like to know how safety measures. Sorry, I'm reading this for the first time. Jody would like to know how the safety measures OSU has taken during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic have affected your role as First Cowgirl. So you touched on that a little bit in Pete's Pet Posse, but other events, I'm sure there have been less of those. What does that look like?
Life is very, very quiet, very quiet. And I have on makeup for the third time this week, which is very strange. That's a lot. So I will say that out of respect for the protocols, I think Burns and I probably made more videos than we've ever made. And I try to stay in touch as much as I can personally, any way I can, But no, we have no gatherings. We did not. We lit the campus, but there was no ceremony, with the choir singing, all the students from all over the city of Stillwater who would come, and Santa and hot chocolate, and such an exciting time. That didn't happen. So I think we're all just doing the best we can to keep some kind of rhythm going, and yet to be grateful for the quiet time we have to appreciate what we have.
Megan wants to know how your experience as both a mother and a grandmother has helped in your role as First Cowgirl.
Oh my goodness, I think I'm everybody's mother and grandmother.
You are everyone's mom on campus.
I don't know. I feel that way because I will look at a mother of an incoming student. I'll go, I could be your mother. I mean, I'm old enough to be your mother. That makes me your child's grandmother. So I'm a surrogate grandmother, although I feel like a sister. So it's just your life experiences help you see things the way you see them, I guess.
And then it's the start of the new year. Many people have set resolutions. Have you set any?
No, I can't keep them, so I don't set them.
That's fair. I mean, you might as well be honest, right?
Yeah.
We have another one coming in as we speak. So I love this one. Okay. Everyone knows that you and Burns have a wonderful relationship. #couple goals was added in there. How can we keep relationships as good as the one you all have?
Oh, that's so nice to hear. You got me. I mean, if you have an appreciation and respect for the other person and humor, you value their time and you value their wisdom, and I don't know, it just is. We're very fortunate that all of that works, and I don't know that there's any magic formula. I think it is something you build on together, because it's not always in a relationship. It just comes from that. Does that make sense?
It does to me.
Okay. Thanks for the compliment.
but that person is correct. You all do set a really good example of working together and completing each other and all of those best qualities. So
well, thank you. I feel like the lucky one.
And then as we're heading out today, running out of time, and I know we didn't get to all of everyone's questions, but we appreciate everyone watching. And do you have anything else you want to share with everyone here in the OSU family?
Well, I just want to thank everyone actually for being here as well, and stay safe. Just keep on keeping on. And I really think, I believe that we have bottomed out. And I think that things are going to slowly and surely get a lot brighter and better. And we'll all look back on this time and go, there was a reason why we went through all this. And it's for the good. It's just to learn about yourself even more, I guess.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you to Scruff. He did great.
Oh, yeah.
He never left.
I know. He loves his bed. I feel like I should do an ad for his bed. But anyway.
Well, awesome. And to everyone watching, our next Friday with the family will be February 5th, and you will be able to register on orangeconnection.org/webinars, as always. You can also view our previous broadcasts there. You can go back to the first one Ann did with us back in March, I believe, if you'd like to, and watch those. Again, a huge thank you to the Alumni Association. We do have a few reminders. Athletic events this weekend coming up: Cowgirl basketball versus TCU. That's at 2 p.m. in Gallagher-Iba Arena on Saturday. Cowboy basketball at Kansas State. That's at Kansas State at 5 p.m. on Saturday. Of course, we'll have wrestling on Sunday. That's a duel in Gallagher-Iba versus Chattanooga and Oregon State. That starts at noon. And now it's time to log on to your your online profile at orangeconnection.org to claim your life membership credit. You can see all that information up on screen and secure your member benefits for life. Membership also helps the Alumni Association connect Cowboys virtually through programs like this Friday with the Family. Again, thank you guys for joining us. A huge thank you to Ann and Scruff for being here, but also for all that you do. To viewers, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, go Pokes!
Go Pokes!